Hello and welcome to We Random episode 49. We're recording on August 17th, 2021. Hey B, what do you call a man with a rubber toe?
Old man Wiggum.
Roberto!
Oh, man. We love you, old man Wiggum.
Almost Qualified Productions. Your dose of semi-coherent babbling.
Welcome to We Random, episode 49. I'm Brian. That's Christopher. Say hello to the people. Christopher.
Hello, people.
Mr. Christopher Sconzi. Are you ready for this podcast? Are you ready to give these people our words of wisdom from our random wheel of doom?
I'm ready. I'm ready. You ready to jump straight in? Are we going to go right at it?
I mean, we can. Obviously, you already gave the words of wisdom for the people. We've got a new nice on-screen graphic for those of you who are watching, the millions of you who are watching at home.
That's right.
We've
That's
got,
right.
our wonderful voices for those of you who are listening on an audio podcast. We have a bevy of topics for you, and we have a very special random rankings coming to
right.
you today. So
I'm
it's just
excited.
going to be a good time. I feel like we probably should just get right into it because, there's lots to talk about. And we spent the entire day on Sunday talking about half of this, so let's just talk about it again.
We did, yeah. So yeah, just to call out, we do have we always put a kind of like some sort of graphic in the corner. So we had Giannis there for the last month or so. We replaced it with a Star Trek GIF, not a GIF. No, a GIF, not a GIF. A GIF. It's from a Twitter account called Swear Trek. So some guy puts quotes, like swearing quotes, over the top of GIFs of different Star Trek episodes. And this is one from the new Star Trek with Dr. McCoy. Looks like he's yelling at Captain Kirk, and he says, "Your opinions aren't facts, for fuck's sake," which I think is pretty appropriate considering some of the stuff that we talk about. But enough of that. B, I'm spinning this wheel.
Do it.
Oh, wait, I'm not, because I forgot to open up the window. Now I'm spinning it. There it goes. We are going to start off with Indiana University.
All right. Well, Indiana University has had a vaccine mandate upheld by the Supreme Court. The U.S. Supreme Court denied an emergency petition filed by lawyers representing how many, Christopher?
8 goddamn people.
8 Indiana University students that called on the Supreme Court to block the University of Indiana's coronavirus vaccine mandate. Lower courts, such as the GOP appointed 7th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, have already upheld the mandate, citing a 1905 Supreme Court decision that a state can require vaccines against smallpox. So the appeal court said these plaintiffs need to wear a mask and be tested, requirements that are not constitutionally problematic. The court added if the students do not want to meet the requirements, they have the option to, quote, go elsewhere. Law scholars are citing this as an important decision as public and private entities are increasingly mandating vaccines in response to the newest wave of coronavirus cases driven by the Delta variant, which includes at least 720 colleges or universities, not including my own, according to a tally kept by the Chronicle of Higher Education. So I thought that this was very interesting, right? Because this is something that we talk about a lot, and it's been a common thread in a lot of the stories that we've talked about where people are like, let the business have their individual freedom. But now that businesses are having their individual freedom, they're like, not that kind of freedom, right? Like this all kind of goes back to the Supreme Court decision of, hey, this bakery does not have to serve a gay individual, right? So this business technically does not have to serve someone who is unvaccinated and decides that they don't want to get the vaccine. So technically, from like a policy and procedure standpoint, at least I am thankful that the Supreme Court is being they're being
Consistent.
consistent.
Yeah.
I'm okay with the consistency. We can argue whatever we want. But again, this is very interesting because as we know, the Supreme Court right now leans towards the GOP side with the different appointees and things like that who have been put on the court. So this is just very interesting to me, especially in contrast to some states like Texas and Florida, where they have actually passed state laws that disallow businesses and companies from mandating the vaccine. So technically those states could be sued and taken to the Supreme Court, and those rulings could be found unconstitutional. So it's just very interesting. What are your thoughts on this, Christopher?
Yeah, no, I think you summed up a lot of it. It's so this is one of those situations where time changes things, and you have to be careful what you ask for sometimes, right? So I was very vocal, not on the podcast, but very vocal about the Colorado baker who decided he didn't want to make a cake for a gay couple that was getting married, and those people from the right, those people. I'm trying to watch my swearing. So those people, they were up in arms that what, it's a private business, he owns that business, he can do what he wants, and he can decide to deny business for those that he wants to deny business to. Well, now that case is coming back, and this was Judge Coney Barrett denied this or agreed with the lower court's ruling. Nobody dissented against it. It's like we've seen this, right? And these same people who were complaining and arguing and fighting that this guy shouldn't have to make that cake, now they're arguing and fighting and bitching that, no, wait, I don't want to wear my mask when I go to XYZ business. But the problem is you were just fighting for the opposite, right? You got what you wanted. You businesses can make their decisions. So now you got to kind of live with that. Now I don't think that in 2 years something stupid's going to happen and it's going to flip the other way, right? That the law has to be a little bit malleable. It has to be able to adjust. But I think this is a situation, and I love it obviously because of the side that I'm on. But I feel like people are getting their just desserts. Ha ha! I get it because of cake. And anyway. Yeah, so I think it makes sense, and I love the quotes, and I think I lost it here because I was looking up something else. Here's the quote. No, I don't have the quote. B read the quote though, but basically they said, hey, if you don't like it, either wear a mask, get tested, or go somewhere else. Like those are your options, right? Like you have options. You're not being forced to do anything. These are your choices. You're given choices. Make those choices. The problem is people don't like their choices. And
Right.
that's life, y'all. You gotta
Yeah.
kind of deal with it.
And what I liked about it is they're like, these things are not constitutionally problematic because that is, again, when folks want to change their narrative, they go, this is against the Constitution. The Constitution says that I have the right to blah, 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 blah. You have these rights to choose to not do this. But if your right is that you choose not to do it, then you won't be doing it here. Right. Like
Right.
that's the choice.
Yeah, it's really not that difficult of a situation, I don't think. I think that people just need to kind of suck it up, look at where we're at, look at the situation we're at, and make a decision that works for them. I'm half trying to find this article that popped up on my phone earlier. I saw it, the notification pop up, but I didn't read it. But it was related to this. It was Florida is going to punish 2 school districts for requiring masks in the first state sanction since Jackhole restricted classroom mandates. So I'll look it up and see if there's actually an article. I don't know if there is. Yeah, there it is. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if they're going to take money from them because clearly that's what we need to do, right? Is take money from schools because they got too much goddamn money.
hmm
Yeah, I don't know exactly what they're going to do, but again, it's another case where some people are trying to do everything they can to make this situation worse instead of better. And I think it's great that the Supreme Court actually made a decision that makes things maybe a little bit better.
Right. Well, think about it this way. I was just looking it up. How many students are at Indiana University? They have a total undergraduate enrollment of 33,000 people. And how many people are suing? 8.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Like,
that's
are
fair
there
too.
are there more that might want to sue? Sure. But again, we're talking about a vocal minority here of people who are trying to
8!
get their way.
It's 8 freaking people! I'm spinning the wheel.
All right, do it.
We are talking about diversity in the great game of baseball.
Something that we've talked about 84 times on this podcast's 49 episodes. So, diversity in baseball. MLB's Field of Dreams game drew the highest TV rating for any MLB regular season game since 2005. In the game, one of MLB's few black players, Tim Anderson, hit a walk-off home run. This prompted Alex Rodriguez to say on the broadcast, "We need more African Americans coming back like when we broke in." As we've previously discussed, 19% of Major League Baseball's players were black at the time that Rodriguez played. At the start of the 2021 season, that number was down to 7% as diversity in the sport continues to be a problem. So, I mean, I we've kind of gone back and forth about this and round about it, so I don't know
Yeah.
how much new content we can provide, but I think, stuff like this, like the Field of Dreams game, like I'll be honest, I've never watched the movie. I don't really know the whole
What?
context
You've
of the
never
game or
seen the
whatever.
movie?
Nope.
You,
But like it's kind of cool because you get people to watch, you get people to engage in this, and then to see a black player, have success in that game. Like if there are young, black generation viewers watching this thing, like maybe that makes them say, I want to go play baseball and I want to be Tim Anderson. Like people watch LeBron James and like all these other athletes in these different sports. So I think this is one of the few times that baseball didn't step on their own dick to like cut off their interest in the game, basically.
yeah, I think this is a topic that's worth discussing, even if it's something that we've rehashed a couple different times. But um, first of all, I can't believe you haven't seen this movie. You need to see this movie as a baseball fan. This is like one of my favorite movies of all time. It's way up at the top. I went to the Field of Dreams with a friend of mine, and we played ball on the field. It was insane. It was just magical. Um, and then I think that if you had a chance to watch the introduction video, the intro video where they kind of kicked this off with Kevin Costner, who's in the movie, it was chilling. Like I had goosebumps all over my body. I was crying. It was insane. If you haven't, you should, and you've seen the movie, really, especially, you should go check that out. It's pretty intense.
Yeah, like I saw the thing, but because I haven't seen the movie, I didn't get like the movie context to it. But I could
Sure, it's
definitely see how that's a powerful moment for people who have seen the movie.
yeah, it's gonna lose some of that content because they played the music from the movie too. So during a very pivotal scene, so yeah, it was definitely very touching. But yeah, I think the numbers they break out, 19% as recently as 95 down to just 7% is a huge drop. And I'm sure there's a lot of things that play into that, but I think that it's something that, representation matters, right? And, one of the other topics that might come up tonight is about individuality and how people are acting in sports and that type of thing. Does that play a role in it? I don't know. I tend to think that a big part of it is just access. Like it's a whole lot easier for some kid to play basketball than it is to play baseball, because to play baseball,
Right.
you pretty much, you have to have a bat and you have to have a ball and you have to have a field big enough that you can do this. You have to have a certain number of people. I mean, at minimum, you need one other person to
Yep.
throw the ball, right?
Right.
But if you're going to
You
actually
need to have
play a game, you need, a whole shit ton more than that.
Mhm.
And whereas if somebody wants to play basketball, you grab a basketball, you find a hoop and you shoot. That's it.
Well,
If you want to play
like you can
football,
find any round object in any box to play, right? It's just there's a very different kind of system that's in place for baseball youth than, and I think basketball is starting to trend that way too, unfortunately. But I know several people who have had kids on, little league baseball teams, and it's basically like from the age of like 5, like you're on these travel teams, and parents are having to
yeah.
throw hundreds of dollars towards travel teams and this and that and the other. And it's like, again, you're investing thousands of dollars into your child being able to, play this sport. And if they want to play it at a high level, it's, you've probably spent years worth of your income
Yeah, to be fair, that's the
to
same
do
for
it.
all sports though, right? There's travel teams for basketball and football and all the different
Yeah.
sports. And if you want your kid to have the best opportunity to go to the right schools, to maybe get drafted and get the best coaching, whatever, you got to make maybe I even just people who had no business even considering ever being a professional athlete when I grew up, they moved. Like there was one family in particular who wanted to make sure their kid could go to the high school that I went to. Their parents actually bought another house and they lived separately just so they would have a house in the school district so you can go to that school. Like this is the kind of stuff that people do. I think the bigger issue is, do kids even want to play baseball? Like, do these kids have an interest in that? And part of that is representation, right? Because, you know, the more that you're able to see the bigger faces of the game, and let's be honest, this goes back in a large part to MLB's totally horrible marketing strategies. Like, again, Mike Trout is probably the best player that we're going to see in a long time. He's the best player we've seen in a long time. And nobody knows who the fuck he is. Like, you couldn't pick him out of a lineup. It's insane. Like, everybody knows who LeBron James is. And you probably everybody knows who the top 20 people are in the NBA. Nobody knows who the best player in baseball is. And that's freaking insane. And that's a problem. And that just adds to it on top of everything else.
Yep. There's a lot baseball could do better.
Absolutely. So I'm going to do better and spin the wheel.
All right. Sounds good to me.
Why don't we talk about food stamps?
Food stamps. All right.
This seems fun.
This does seem fun. So, President Joe Biden's administration has approved a significant and permanent increase in the levels of food aid available to needy families. This is the largest single increase in the program's history. Starting this October, average benefits for food stamps will rise from $121 to $157 per month for the 42 million food stamp eligible citizens. This is a change that is more than 25% above pre-pandemic aid levels. So, the aid boost is a major revision to the USDA's Thrifty Food Plan, which estimates the cost to purchase groceries for a family of 4 and guides the way the government calculates benefits. This increase is projected to cost an additional $20 billion per year, but it will not have to be approved by Congress. Do you know why, Christopher?
No, why is that, B?
A farm law passed in 2018 by the then GOP-led Congress and signed by former president and friend of the show, President Donald Trump, already directed the department to reassess the Thrifty Food Plan. This increase coincides with the end of a 15% boost in the benefits that was ordered as a pandemic protection measure. That expires at the end of September, and this will go into effect in October. So I read this, and like everybody's like, "Oh my God, 25%! That's incredible! Why are we doing this?" And I look at this, and I'm like, "Okay, we're talking about the difference between what is it, $121 and $150,
Yep.
right?" So I mean, obviously that is a difference, right? We're talking, $36, which okay, sure, but think about that. $36. That's basically $1.25 a day, right? Difference. Like if we're really breaking this down by the numbers, like is this going to help? Yes. Is it something like think about having to sustain yourself on $157 a month. That's pretty challenging. Like I know I go to the store and I'm showing my privilege right now. But I go to the store at least once a week. I probably walk out of there spending somewhere between $50 and $100 each week.
Yeah.
So, to tell somebody, "Hey, you got $157 for the month, and if that's for your family of 4, everybody's got to eat on that." I got a family of 2 and some cats and a guinea pig, and we spent a lot more than that. So, like, I'm really happy that this is happening, and I'm sure this will continue to feed the echo chamber of people aren't hungry for their food. Why? And, there might be another one of those stories on our wheel a little bit later, but I think that this is a good moment for us to continue to advance how people are treated. And again, I think people focus far too much on the small percentage of people who have figured out how to game the system and not the big percentage of people who found themselves without a job or who found themselves in a situation where they really need these benefits to be sustained. Thoughts, Christopher?
No, I agree. So Emily asked a question, isn't that number for 4 people? That is, it's per person, is what they say. And I'm looking at, so yeah, if I'm looking at the SNAP website, let's say there is a family of 4, the number actually kind of drops. So for a number of 4, they would get roughly $470. So you're still looking $120 a person. It's just not a lot of money. And one of the things that they talk about here is that it's going to allow people to buy more nutritious foods, because we know that eating nutritiously is more expensive than getting cheap stuff, right? When Brian and I had this conversation a couple days ago on my back porch, I shared that growing up, we were very poor. We didn't have a lot of money. And so a lot of time, first of all, the food, we hardly had food for everybody to eat. My old man went without eating quite a bit. And when we did get food, it was oftentimes the cheapest food we can find. There were times when at one place that we lived, there was I don't think it was a chain restaurant, but it was basically a fast food restaurant that was right next door to us, and they had very cheap meals. And we lived off that fast food place for probably a year or more. And as a high school kid, my parents would just give me some cash. I'd walk over there, I'd buy her food and bring it back, and that's what we lived off of, burgers and fries. And it that wasn't healthy, right? Like that certainly helped shape who I am now, which is a much larger shape than I should be. And that's kind of the stuff that happens when you're reliant on not having a lot of food and you can't afford to buy better food. So I think giving them more money is definitely a good step in the right direction. I think there's a lot of other things that need to happen. Like how do we find a way to get food so that it's not as expensive? How do we get access to food? That's a huge thing. The other thing we talked about is there's so many food deserts in this country, and they happen more often than not in areas that are lower income, where people don't go get grocery stores in these areas. And if they do have a grocery store, it's more like a corner store bodega that's got, processed crap, and it doesn't have really good fresh food. And these are things that just continue to spiral, right? Because you're already low income, you're already struggling, you're not getting good nutrition, you probably don't have health care or very good health care, you're probably not going to the doctor. Now you're just putting people in these huge holes that they're probably never going to dig out of. And it's just a perpetual problem that just keeps happening.
Yeah, it's that public health nightmare of, okay, now you've got a little bit more money, but sure, you still don't have a true grocery store within
Right.
5 miles of your house, right? So you've got the corner store, but maybe if you're lucky on Tuesdays, they get a meat shipment.
Right.
And, that meat shipment is not the greatest, but they've got meat for, one day of the week. And then the rest of the day of the week, you can buy your little Debbie snacks 10 for 10, but like
Yep.
that's what you have access to. So these are all of the things that I think you really laid it out perfectly. These lead to the poor health outcomes, and then people, it's that cycle that people don't want to look at when they just go, oh, well, they should just go to work and then they'll have money and then it'll be okay. They should go. And, I know I get kind of like this carnival barker voice when I talk about it, and I should probably stop that, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it is definitely a problem that continues, and this isn't going to solve it. But it's at least a small step in the right direction. So it's a good thing, I think. It's
I'd
been
say we actually brought forward a positive
We
story.
did. That's amazing. Now I spun the wheel to something that's probably not positive.
No.
Yeah. Let's talk some more baseball this time. Yeah, let's talk about this fucking guy.
All right, so Trevor Bauer, a Los Angeles Dodgers pitcher who is under investigation for an alleged sexual assault, was the subject of a temporary order of protection sought by a different woman last year, according to court records. An Ohio woman sought an order in June 2020 after repeated threats from the then Cincinnati Reds pitcher, according to her lawyer in records obtained by the Washington Post. Photographs independently obtained showed bruises on the woman's face, which her attorney said was caused by Bauer punching and choking her during sex without consent. When the woman reported her injuries to police, she was arrested for underage drinking as she was an adult, but not of legal drinking age. So the woman dismissed the protection order 6 weeks later after Bauer's attorneys threatened legal action against her. She then drafted but never filed a civil suit. So the woman was contacted, but declined to be interviewed. Now, the whole thing here with Mr. Trevor is Mr. Trevor has a history online of not exactly being the nicest person. But a lot of people are like, oh, he's just honest. Like he tells it like it is. But it's like, if only there would have been a warning sign, like him treating women like trash online
Right.
or having temper tantrums on the mound. But no, in our true typical American society, people just go, oh, he just has a regular disdain for women, not actual like criminal disdain for them. But wrong. So I'm not surprised by any of this. And again, I shared some of my feelings about this with you, and I'll say it here before I kind of let you say whatever you're going to say. I don't doubt that these relationships that he had with these women may have started off as a consensual relationship, but I want to give us a lesson here about consent. Consent is not a period, consent is an ever changing document. I give you consent today at 7:34 p.m. to punch me in the face, Christopher. I can rescind that consent at 7:35 p.m. today and say I no longer would like you to punch me in the face. If you punched me in the face and say, well, at 7:34, he said that it was okay. It's still not fucking okay. Like, this is what all of the dude bros need to get over is that consent is not this ever growing thing that you can just do whatever you want, whenever you want, because at one point in your life, a woman sent you a picture of her breasts. Let's get over ourselves here.
Yeah. I think the
Also,
long.
I think I got our clip for the week.
I think the thing is this guy is, like you said, he's got a history of being a dick, and like the stuff that he's accused of is horrific. He's piling onto it after the fact. These people are lying, blah blah blah. Um, I was just reading through this article here, and they mentioned the messages. God, I can't talk. Text messages that he sent this woman in Ohio. So the one who's came forward most recently, but the allegations are further back. He said he got text messages from him that said, "I don't feel like spending time in jail for killing someone." And then a second message says, "And that's what would happen if I saw you again." Like, what the fuck? Like, what is wrong with this fucking guy? Like, clearly he's got an issue that he's going to get what he wants, how he wants, and he's going to get away with it. And you know what's going to happen? He's going to get away with this too, because baseball will reinstate him in a month, and then, everything will go on hunky-dory. Like, that's what's going to end up happening. I certainly would love the fact if it didn't happen, if they actually stood up and said, no, we're not going to let you back in the game. This is a privilege for you to be here. And if you're going to be treating people that way, you don't belong here. I think it'd be fantastic. Is it going to happen? No, I suspect it won't, but I certainly hope that it will. And when he does get reinstated, we'll probably talk about that on here too, and then I'll swear a whole lot more.
Yeah. And, it's kind of interesting, right? Because there's the whole, like, the thing with there was another player, Marcelo Osuna, who had a domestic issue, and he is not white. So it'll be
Yeah,
interesting to see kind of like how his case goes versus how Bauer's thing comes out. But I agree with you. I think that it's just going to be, they're going to say, okay, everybody, let's let it quiet down.
yeah, for
And
sure.
now the Dodgers, yay! And it's like,
Yeah, it's just
no, let's not.
they'll just wait until it dies down a bit, and then they'll let him in. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just what's going to happen. So this is
Some
disgusting,
judge
and
will,
this is, but here's the thing. Here's the bigger picture: is we've had these stories week after week after week after week after week. It just keeps happening, no matter how much it's in the spotlight, no matter how much people talk about it, no matter how much people say, we're sending our thoughts and prayers, no matter how much people say this isn't okay, we got to stop this. It keeps fucking happening. We just talked about the whole Blizzard thing, and then the Ubisoft thing, and God knows there's 10 million different examples out there. It's just disgusting. We need to stop this, and the only way it's going to stop is if it starts getting taken seriously. Don't let this guy back in baseball. If they find out that this shit is true, put him in fucking jail, make an example of him, and teach people that you can't treat other people this way. It's not that difficult.
I mean, it is for the people who are in charge and who have been doing this for centuries and don't want to give
Because
up
they do
their
the same
rights.
fucking thing. That's why. I'm
It's
spinning the
their own
wheel. I'm done
personal
with this fucking
decision.
guy.
All right. What do we got? Come on, give me
B,
something good.
let's go to Summerfest.
All right. Well, this is probably the most boring thing that's left on the wheel, so maybe we can pound through this real quick. So, Milwaukee's biggest music festival created waves recently with the announcement of COVID safety protocols for entry to the festival. Children under the age of 12 will be required to wear masks, and anyone older than 12 will be required to present proof of COVID-19 vaccination or a negative COVID test result within 72 hours of attending the festival. So, my next point was thoughts. So, because I've talked a lot, I'm going to cede the floor to your thoughts first, and then I will likely rain on your parade.
Well, I don't think there's a whole lot here, right? Like this is the same thing that we've talked about. We just talked about it with the Indiana University thing, right? It's different places are going to make different rules on how to keep people as safe as possible, and they're going to make those decisions, and you're going to have to deal with it. Now, I think the bigger thing is Summerfest gets like what, tens of thousands of people that show up. Like even if a couple people are wearing masks or a couple people show you a test, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be safe. Like there's
Well,
still going to be like there 100%. There's going to be people there with COVID. 100%.
so I think that this to me is basically security theater, right? Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to work up the people who are going to say, "I'm not going to go. You're taking away my rights, brother. My rights, brother." Like those people, you just want them to not go. And then the other people who are like, all right, I'll play by your rules, or the other people who are like, well, I already bought this fake COVID vaccine card online for $12.99, or somebody who just goes online to Google and finds a vaccine card and looks at it on their phone. Like the reason I think it's security theater is because it's not like they're going to ask you for your driver's license and compare to the name on your card, right? So it's going to be very easy for people to lie and cheat and still get in. But it's a good faith show on their part that they're trying to do right by people's safety. But I think it's still important for everyone to assume that there will be people who will not do the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, anytime my personal belief is you shouldn't be hanging around groups of people. Period. Let alone tens of thousands of people. I just don't. I don't know why you would do that. It seems stupid, but it's a step in the right direction. That's the whole thing, right? Like there's 100% going to be COVID live and ready to party in that group. That's the way it's going to be. And this is at least a step towards trying to make it safer. And here's the thing is that we saw what happened when this country tried to shut down the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It just didn't happen. Like it did for a week or two, and then people lost their goddamn minds. And at this point, people are still losing their goddamn minds. Nobody's going to put up with that anymore. It's just not going to happen. So unless there was like some sweeping legislation or sweeping decision by the White House that said everything has to shut down, then people still throw fits about it. But unless something like that happens, the best that we've got to try to combat that in these smaller situations, either A, cancel everything, which they're not going to do, or B, put these types of regulations in. So is this a cure-all? Absolutely not. Are there people who are going to get around this? Absolutely. But is this a step in the right direction? Yes, it absolutely is.
I would agree on all points.
Good. I'm spinning the wheel. I've done good not getting really mad and swearing, but this might be the one, B.
Maybe. All right. So this article says the NFL is hell-bent on making football as boring as possible. So, James DeTore of SB Nation recently made the case that the NFL is hell-bent on making football boring. DeTore says the NFL has long had issues with individuality and personality. In the league's view, football should be played a specific way with very specific decorum. Recently, the league informed teams that taunting is being elevated from a standard penalty to a point of emphasis for the upcoming season. Now, a player who commits 2 taunting penalties in a game will be immediately ejected, with the possibility of a fine and suspension being levied at the league's discretion. Barring celebrations and taunting in an effort to have players play the right way makes football boring, says the author. Christopher, would you like to get mad online?
Well, first of all, I was trying to do a little bit of research. Who the fuck is James Dater? Like, who the fuck is that guy?
I don't know.
Like, I don't even know what SB Nation is. Is that even a real thing?
SB Nation is the less cringy bar stool, I would assume.
So
But
it's just like a blog site. It's some fucking guy like you or me who doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, just spouting off at his mouth. So here's the thing. You know what is the worst part about the NFL in my mind? Fucking taunting. It is so goddamn. This is part of the reason I hate the NBA. Is because in the NBA, every single fucking play, I swear they stop halfway up the court just to stop and taunt their opponent, and then they continue the fucking play. Fuck you. We don't need that shit. And it's happening in the NFL every single play. The dude will take the handoff and he'll bust through a couple tackles and he'll do a spin and he'll do a jump and he'll dive forward and he'll get up and he'll fucking spike the ball and he'll dance in your face and he got a yard and a half. Like, fuck out of here, dude. Like, what the hell? This is so stupid. So yes, I'm 100% for this. Now, is there going to be some growing pains? Sure. Are they going to call some penalties on stuff that's pretty weak? Sure. But you know what? The whole point is this is intended to get, it's just like we talked about with Trevor Bauer. It's setting an example and getting people to stop doing stupid fucking shit. And I hope that it happens.
so what you're saying is Nick Barnett can't come back and do his little Nick
Oh, that
Barnett dance
motherfucking guy.
after he's tackled someone like 9 yards down.
Exactly. Dude, it's like 4th and 2 and they give up 74 yards and he made the tackle at the 1 yard line. He's like, yeah, suck on that. What the fuck are you doing, dude? Get out of here.
Like, my whole thing is like, I don't mind. I think there's a difference between like excitement and taunting. If you make a good play, you should be excited about making a good play.
Absolutely.
Like if you've done something positive, you should be excited about that.
I agree.
If you knock down a defender, you should not like stand over him and like flex your groinal muscles. Like, nobody needs to see that, right? Like, that doesn't do anything for anyone.
Yeah, so I'm going to put this link in the chat here. Unfortunately, if you're watching this after the fact or listening after the fact, you won't see that. But if you are watching live, you can go ahead and click that if you want to see the taunting penalty that was called here recently that people, was up in arms about. And this is a run by some dude on Indianapolis, and it's a pretty impressive run. Like, he moved the entire goddamn defense like 10 yards downfield. It was insane. It's a beast mode move. But then he gets up and he's like right in the fucking guy's face, flexing on him. It's like, you don't need to do that.
Like, that's I didn't like the penalty, but he was in the dude's face. Like, if he would have gotten up and like flexed towards the goal line,
that's 100% there. Exactly.
Right.
Just face the goal line, do your flex, and you're fine. Move on.
Right. Like, that's the whole thing where like they allow people to celebrate now, but it's like you have to do it in a certain way. Like, you can't just be like, I'm gonna pull out this phone from under the goalpost and yeah, like
the phone was pretty awesome. I'm gonna be honest.
That was pretty awesome. That was my like 8-bit avatar forever.
It's just
because that.
So the whole thing is this is all about showing up your opponent.
Right.
It's not about being excited. It's about showing up your opponent. It has no place in the game in my mind. Like, get rid of it. It's garbage.
Right. Like, it's interesting like when players kind of jaw back and forth in like a fun way. And I think officials can still kind of mediate that, right? Because the two guys went to school together and like you kind of see that they're jawing at each other. Like, that's something that you can kind of leave be, as to where we don't need any, Michael Crabtree out here, like people chain snatching and all of that.
There's just a lot of garbage going on, and I think that trying to curb that is a good thing. And maybe it's just because I'm a grumpy ass old man. I don't know.
I would agree. So it looks like
wait, you agree that I'm a grumpy ass old man, or you agree that we need to stop this stuff?
No comment.
Oh,
I'm kidding. It's anyway. All right, we got 4 topics left. I feel like all of these are ones that I feel like we would want to talk about. Do you have any one of these that you're really passionate about? Do we want to leave it up to the wheel?
There's definitely some I'm very passionate about, but we do have a random rankings that might last a little bit of time. So I don't know if we got the time to dive into it. So I'm open to whatever you want to do, B.
I really kind of, oh my God. I don't know. Like, there's the one that just made my head explode, and then there's another one that makes my head explode for a different reason.
Why
So,
don't we just save
um,
it for extra time? I know we've already got a pretty hefty extra time planned for the
we
patrons out
do.
there. I'm gonna put
We
that
do.
patron chat in Patreon. There you go. So if you want to join the Patreon, that's where the link is there in the chat, or just go to patreon.com/join/Gonzi. We do put out an extra podcast episode once a week. Sometimes maybe more than once a week. Sometimes it's video. Sometimes it's audio. A lot of different options there. But if you want to support, you can do that for as low as I think it's $5 a month. And then you get extra content there, and you get access to the Discord, all kinds of fun stuff. So keep that in mind. A little bit of a
All right.
hashtag ad there.
That's true. So we're moving to random rankings then?
Well, you're making the call.
Let's move, because otherwise I would just want to talk about all of these topics. And
Yeah,
we can...
yeah. Like these are some really, really good topics, and I definitely want to touch base on them. So even though it's going to be a long extra time this week, I think, but let's move on to
Random rankings.
B. Why don't you kick us off and tell us what the deal is with these rankings?
So random rankings, it's draft season, SZN. And we are going to draft a Brewers team, but with a twist. We will use a random number generator, the number 1 to 63. I'm sorry, Curtis Laskanik, you wore number 0. No one is going to draft you.
Wait, if there's a
select-
0, we got to have 0 on there. I think that's only
Well,
fair.
there's a double 0 too.
Oh, I don't know how we do that.
Right. Yeah, there's a... So we actually technically have numbers from 00 all the way up to 95, but there's only one player who wore 95. So I kind of figured that like 1 through 63, at least in those numbers, at least 4 players wore that number at some point.
Okay.
So it gives us a baseline to draft from. And what we're going to do is, let's say the random number generator gives you the number 4. You could draft from the following players: Pat Listash, Paul Molitor, Mike Hagan, and Tim Johnson. So you would then take 2 of those players for your team.
All
And
right.
if you don't,
Interesting.
And if you don't like that list, you can say, no, I don't want to draft from the number 4. And then what you get to do, and you only get to do this one time, is at a number of your choosing later that has been given to you by the number generator, you can take 3 players from that number. So for example, if you get number 20, you could say that I want to draft Daniel Vogelbach and David Weathers and I don't even know who half of these people are. Don Sutton, I know who that is.
Don Sutton. All right.
So thoughts about this one? Are you good with it?
So we're doing 2 people for each number.
Yep.
And then if we want to skip one of them, we get to choose one from the other number.
Yep, but we skip the whole number, so it's not like you just take one and then we're just
so you get none.
Number.
So that's kind of a okay. All right. And so here's the plan: is what we're going to try to do. We're going to see how it works out. But the plan is we're going to draft a number of these guys right now, and then we are going to continue this. So we're not going to be able to get through like a whole team or something, but we'll draft a certain number of these. And then the plan is, depending if we can get things worked out, is to finish this on extra time and actually draft an entire team. And then if I can figure out a way to make it happen, actually create simulation teams of our players and play them against each other and see who wins. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make that work. I got to check some stuff out, but that's the hope. So let's do it, man.
And since we have a lot of topics, we could always move the topics to extra time and then finish this next week. But we're going to get started and see how this goes. So we need the random number generator, and we need to decide who goes first.
Oh, yeah. Randomizer. I didn't spell that right, but you know what I meant. All right. B and C. Randomize. Oh, snap. The C goes first.
All right.
All right. So we're going to do the random number thing here, and we're going to generate number 38.
38. All right. So who do you get for number 38?
All right. Well, Devin Williams is in there. He had a pretty decent season last year. Eric Gagne. That'd be a good Ben Ford. Would not be a good pick. Jaime Navarro or Jamie Navarro, however you pronounce that. Don August would be a decent pick.
All right.
Okay. Well, if we're gonna put together a full team, I'm going to need all the positions, so I'm going to take Devin Williams just for that year he had last year alone.
Okay.
Are you writing these down, B?
So you have pitcher Devin Williams.
Devin
There we
Williams,
go.
yeah. Man,
Okay.
I don't know how good Don August was, but I think he had some decent years, right?
Is he a pitcher?
He is a
Don
pitcher
August?
from way back in the 80s.
Is that your pick?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Maybe. Any of these other guys any good? Eric Plunk? Probably not. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Don August.
All right.
That's my guy.
August. There we go. Cool.
All right. Random number for B. Number 8. Well,
Come on.
this is just some
All right.
garbage here.
All right. So let's look at the number 8. We have 19 players who have worn number 8. There was Ryan Braun from 2007 to 2020. Vinny Rottino, Nelson Cruz, Matt Erickson.
I do have this on the screen, so you don't have to read through all of them, just so you're aware.
Well, I'm trying to read them because I can't see your screen.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know who any of these people are from like way back in the day. So I guess I have to take Ryan Braun, right? Like that's the easy
Well,
one.
that's a no-brainer.
Like that's the no-brainer. Now, I think, and this might not be a popular. Ooh, Dante Bichette.
This is a pretty easy choice in my mind.
I think I'm gonna mess it up though, because every team needs a utility player,
Yep.
and Mark Loretta was a really good utility player for a long time.
It's true.
So I am gonna go with Mark Loretta. Did I take the guy that you were thinking?
Yeah, that was a no-brainer in my mind.
All right.
All right. Oh, snap. Big C got number 5. Who wore number 5?
So you're definitely not taking Jeff Jenkins because I'm sure you're going to take like Jonathan VR.
Oh, I was looking at 6. Number 5. Okay.
You can
Jonathan
go with the
Scope,
Fogo Power, Eduardo Escobar,
Ray Durham, Ned Yost,
BJ Surhoff.
George Scott was pretty decent, wasn't he?
Yeah, George Scott was pretty legit.
When he played for Milwaukee. Let's see. Yeah, dude. We're going to add some power, B. We're going with George Scott. And I was never a really big fan of Jeff Jenkins, but I know somebody who was, so I'm going to take him too.
Nice.
And the next number is number 10.
Number 10. All right. Well, obviously, Ron Belliard wore number 10.
He did.
So there is that. So we got Omar Narvaez, Yasmani Grandal, Brad Miller.
There are not a lot of good names here.
There are not. But what you also have to realize is that the Brewers did not have a terribly good catching history. And I have actually 2 pretty good catchers here with Omar Narvaez and Yasmani Grandal, right?
That's true.
So I feel like Mark Newfield. And there's Juan Nieves, who is the only Brewer to ever throw a no-hitter, if I am
true.
Correct. So I think what we're going to have to do for our number 10 is we are going to have to go with Yasmani Grandal and Juan Nieves, which is weird that a pitcher wore number 10, but whatever.
That is a little bit weird. George Scott was what? He was George Scott
He was like a first baseman, I think.
Jenkins was a left fielder?
Yeah.
All right. I just want to make sure so if we're putting a team together, I got to know where they play.
I didn't do that for myself, so I should probably do that.
Number 40. I don't know. Number 40 doesn't jump out at me. Who do we got? Ben Hendrickson. Probably not.
Oh.
Chad Fox. I think Chad Fox had some good seasons for us, didn't he?
He also had a bionic elbow.
Chad Fox, Milwaukee. Let's see. Where's Milwaukee? That was not a bad right here. This was a really good season. So, Chad Fox might go in that bullpen, maybe. But there's also nobody else here, I think, at all that I would want.
Johnny Hellwig, that's amazing.
Like, I don't think any of these people that I want.
I mean, Saito was a decent part of the 2011 team, but.
Oh, that's true. We could take a look and see. Milwaukee. You know what? You sold me. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do Chad Fox and Takashi Saito. My bullpen all of a sudden is really freaking good. I'm just saying.
That's 40. Chad Fox.
While you're doing that, I'm going to spin your next number. And it's number 16.
Number 16. Cool. So I get to draft someone.
You got another catcher you can take.
Oh, I probably do. I'm trying to remember. I think George Kataris wore 16.
He
at this
did.
point. All right, we got Colton Wong, Ben Gamel, Domingo Santana. Ooh, Aramis Ramirez.
Yeah, there's some names here.
Jason Bourgeois, Lou Collier. Oh, Pat Listash. Look at that.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Mike Felder. Was he good?
Not really.
I'm gonna pull up Pat Listash real quick as you kind of are doing, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Kind of get a feel for. Oh my. Well, that 94 season's not bad. I mean, neither is the rookie season.
Yeah, I think he was rookie of the year, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
All right. That actually that plays. All right. So, based on this, I am going to take third baseman Aramis Ramirez and shortstop Pat Listash.
Your infield is in a pretty good position right now. My infield doesn't really exist. Oh boy, this can't be a good number.
What is that?
56.
Oh, interesting.
Justin Topa, Aaron Wilkerson, Jason DeRocher, Ned Jost. I am not taking anybody on 56. I am going to pass.
So you're taking your pass. All right, we got to write that down. So we're going to say pass is available. Okay.
All right. And up number 8 we already had. Did I just have 56?
You did have 56.
Oh, okay. All right. We're regenerating 54.
All right. Pass is available. I put 56 so that we know
Okay.
that's there. So 54. Hopefully I can get a 54 that is worth something. So we have 11 people.
Yeah.
Taylor Williams, Michael Blazek. I mean, this is like the land of terrible relievers.
Yes, it really is.
Hold on, it's Doug Jones. Wasn't Doug Jones good?
That's a different Doug Jones, I think. That's 1982 Doug Jones.
Oh God, let's look at 1982.
Let's look at Doug. That is the Doug Jones, though, I think.
So 1982 Doug Jones had a 10-13 ERA.
He did. Okay. So down here, wait, no, because look, Doug Jones played for us down here too, and he was good here. Like in '97, he was good.
But I think we would kind of have to like play the letter of the law, right? Like this person, like he wore this in 1982.
That's true. Yeah, you would have to use the 82 guy, I guess.
So I kind of have to use the 82. Let me look at Jose Valentin.
That sucks.
Before I rule this out, because Jose Valentin used to hit dingers, if I remember correctly.
He did, but he only wore this in '92, and he didn't do anything.
I mean, he had 3 at-bats and had a run. So I think that, all right, do I want...
You want to.
I think I'm going to have to use my skip and hope that this doesn't come back to bite me.
We only get one skip, right?
Yep, so now we're really in it because...
Oh, shit, I just got 57.
Oh, 57 is good!
Why? Who's at 57?
It's going to be on fire!
Oh, yeah, I got K-Rod in there, so we'll take him. And Mitch Stetter was okay, wasn't he?
I mean, he was a lefty specialist. Do you want to see Chase Anderson? It's like, hey, you just took down my quote.
I'm not touching Chase Anderson. Jeff Bennett? No.
Oh, Jeff Bennett, flat brim guy.
Yeah. I'm going to take K-Rod and Mitch Stetter. My bullpen is so fire.
It is. All right, so we have
But
57.
now it's like I probably already have too many freaking relievers at this point.
You're just going to run an opener against me.
Right.
It's going to be like 12 dudes. All right.
Well, you got a lot of people to choose from on number 45.
45. All right. Well, I know Carlos Lee is out here, but let's see who else I have there. 25 players. So
Rob
Burger
Deere.
Box. Burger Box is a no. Alfredo Figaro. My God, these names. Marco Estrada's hamstrings. Oh, Carlos Lee. Rob Deere. Davy Jones. I don't even know who any of these people are. This is apparently one of those numbers that like everybody wore,
Apparently.
where it's like, but they only wore it for 1 year.
Doug Jones used this one too, apparently.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't look. I should probably look and see how bad he
Like,
was.
it was the same year, 1982. He used multiple numbers.
Man, how many times did you strike out, Rob?
Oh, dude. He was the main true outcome guy.
He was. But I mean, look at this 830 OPS. Man.
Yeah, like he bombed.
884 OPS. Whoa.
He just swung from the ankle every single time.
Well, I suppose that was Detroit, so I can't use that one. But I almost feel it. Did he actually? So they have him as a right fielder and first baseman. Okay, sure, whatever. We're gonna take right fielder, first baseman Rob Deere,
Oh, I love it.
and
I love it.
and we're gonna take left fielder Carlos Lee. My
Good.
team is basically gonna hit dingers. I mean, dude, look at this. I got Ramirez, Rob Deere, Carlos Lee, Ryan Braun. You better have pitchers with some movement.
That's insane. 54. What the hell? Get out of these high numbers. Like, oh, we already had 54 because you had that one.
Yeah, pass was available for 54.
38. I don't know why that seems like a good number.
Chris Narveson.
Oh, I had 38. That's where Devin Williams came from.
Yeah, we had 38.
56 we already did. 55, I don't think we did.
We didn't do 55. Marcus Hannell, are you in the chat?
Oh my God.
You got 6 players.
What did Teddy Higuera do in 85?
Oh my
he was
God.
not bad.
I want this. I want
wasn't
this
bad.
so much.
Why?
I
Who
swear-
do you want?
There are 2 players in here.
Well, I'm going to take Teddy Higuera. And I got to take Brooks Kieschnick. I mean,
Yes.
you got to take Brooks Kieschnick. For those
Yes,
who aren't
that's-
aware, Brooks Kieschnick was a very heavy hitting pitcher. He wasn't a great pitcher, but he was okay. And he just hit dingers. So, yeah.
He really did.
Teddy Higuera and Brooks Kieschnick. What did he do?
Yep.
Kieschnick, oh, I guess he was a pitcher, yeah.
He was like, they called him the toolbox because he was a converted position player, but he also pitched. So
I said left fielder. So let's put him in as left field / pitcher.
both ways. All right. So what do we
Number
got?
9.
Oh, yay, I get to draft Marquise Grissom.
That a boy.
Oh,
Oh, there's a lot of number 9s.
there are a lot of number 9s. Now,
I think we'll
What?
finish. I think we'll finish this one and then we'll move on, B, and we'll finish the rest up for extra time.
sounds good. All right. Ooh. George Kataris again.
Enrique Cruz.
I remember Enrique Cruz. He was like 12.
Oh, there's
Paul
a lot.
Bacco.
There's a lot of people, but almost nobody good.
I could tell you the story about how Paul Bacco made me stop watching the Brewers for a year. Billy Joe Robideau. Wasn't Larry Hissel good at some point?
He was okay, yeah. 78 to 82. Let's take a look.
What position did you play, Larry?
78 to 82. He was an outfielder, it says. He was an all-star in 78. Oh, yeah, he had a really good year in 78. Number 3 in the all-star or in the MVP voting.
Nice. All right. So,
Yeah, that's a good pick.
Larry, welcome to the team, sir. Even though I don't really need more outfielders.
You really don't,
but,
yeah.
you know, when I guess, you know, Rob Deere can play first base in a pinch, or I'll just do what he did for like half of his career and just have him come off the bench and pinch hit. All right, so number 9. So we've got Larry out here. Oh, that's very large text in my. We'll fix that later.
112 font.
Now, man, I don't know who's going to play center field. That's kind of a problem.
Yeah, you kind of have 3 guys who don't play center field.
Are we doing a DH?
Um, that's
I
a really
think,
good question. Well, you know what? When we get to it, if we manage to actually put a team together, like a simulation, then
yeah,
then we'll like
let's
flip
figure
a
that
coin or
out.
something. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, so I'm looking here. I'm thinking, so Greg Brock is in conversation, but again, dude's a first baseman, so that's not really going to help me considering, that my team is very heavy on these people who can hit dingers
I
already.
mean, there's Tony Graffanino.
I did see that. I also saw Hernan Iribarren. I part of me, and I think you might laugh me out of the building here if I do this, but I'm thinking very long and no, I can't. Oh wait, what was this season? 751 OPS over 300 plate appearances. I can get behind that. That might actually not be terrible. I'm going to do something that's a little controversial here,
All right.
and you might hate me for it,
Okay.
and you might laugh me out of the chat, but I am going to take my second catcher. I'm
Manny
going to
Pena.
take Manny Pena.
Okay.
And my thought here is that if we do a series, right,
Yeah,
we're going to need multiple catchers.
that's true.
And the Brewers don't have a lot of real good catchers.
I don't have a
And
single one.
and like in number 9, there were a bunch of catchers. There's Manny
Yeah,
Pena, there's Greg Zahn, so I kind of took that one away from you. So I'm
you
kind of
kind of
happy
did.
about that.
Yeah, yeah. Cool.
Cool.
This is fun. I enjoy the hell out of it. I hope that y'all watching or listening enjoyed that. We are going to definitely continue this on Extra
We
Time.
are.
So
Yep.
probably this weekend at some point we'll get together and we'll draft the rest of this. And I'm going to do some research and see if there's a way that I can figure out a way to get this created onto a sim somewhere. I checked a website that I used to use, and I think it appears that it got bought, and I think it's a garbage website now. So we'll see if Out of the Park can handle it. I don't know if it can, but we'll go from there. Anyway,
Somebody's got to ask Snaggle J.
right? But now it is time for Brian's Extra Point.
So, it has been an interesting week. As you all know, I have returned to work and I am there so I don't get fined. No, I'm kidding. I'm actually doing okay. But I've really been feeling like I want to move into the motivation space and the positivity space and start doing some more things to help inspire people and develop people to help people really find their confidence in their own personal self and to act on that as appropriate. Now, I got an email at work about an opportunity to be a mentor and a coach to students who are going through a leadership program.
Nice.
And I look at this email and I go, Brian, this is something you totally should do. And then the thoughts in the back of Brian's brain go, oh, but I have to see people. Oh, but the time commitment. Oh, X, Y, and Z. We've talked on this podcast for weeks and months and probably almost a year now about taking action, right? And this, based on how I've been feeling and what I've been interested in doing, is a tangible action that I can take to do something that's going to push me outside of my comfort zone. So I think what I'm doing today to use my extra point is to hold myself accountable to take that opportunity to at least apply for this opportunity. I might not get it, who knows, but at least to put my name in the ring to see if it's something that I want to do. I had messaged Christopher today and I was like, why does every, motivational speaking book sound like it's narrated by someone who's never had fun in their life? And the reason for that is because I wanted to check out the audiobook for this program that they want me to do to see if it's something that I want to do, but I think I'm still going to try it. And that's a challenge that I would also throw out to all of you, loyal viewers and loyal listeners. Try to do something that's going to challenge you. Try to do something that's going to engage you. Try to do something that's going to excite you. Because as Mr. Christopher Scanzi told me the other day, if someone offered you $1 million, but you died tomorrow, would you take it? You probably
You're
wouldn't.
totally stealing my fucking extra point, man.
So what you're saying is we're just never going to get together anymore. But no, I'm kidding. But like the biggest thing is like you have to take advantage of the opportunities that you have, because if you say that you want them and you let them pass you by, you got to take them when you can have them. And that's my extra point.
Nice. That's an exciting opportunity, man. I wish you would have told me that instead of just being snarky about a leadership book. And I would
got the
say
email today.
you're listening to the wrong audiobooks. That's what I'm going to tell you. There's a lot of really, really good leadership stuff out there. We'll talk, because God knows that I've read and listened to a bunch of that shit. But yes, Brian totally rained on my extra point parade here. I should mute him so he doesn't keep talking. But I watched a TikTok video this week, and it really hit me. And I guess it was last week because we talked about it this weekend. But so basically what it was is the guy asked the audience, and hey, if I offered you $1 million, would you accept it? And everyone's like, yeah, duh. Like, are you fucking stupid? And he's like, yeah, of course you would. But if I told you that I would offer you the $1 million, but you wouldn't wake up tomorrow, would you take the $1 million? Everyone's like, well, no, are you fucking stupid? He goes, what if I offered you $10 million? No. So what you're saying is waking up tomorrow is worth more to you than $10 million. Yes. Then how come we're not excited about it every day that we wake up? How many days have we woken up in a row? It's been a lot, right? Extra lot if you're as old as I am. And yet we take it for granted. We're not excited about it. We're not really grasping the importance of that and how valuable it is. And the message this was to me, and I'm guessing this is kind of where he was going, was appreciation of what we have, appreciation of who we are and what we can offer and what's within our grasp. And it, there's a quote that I heard at first from Garth Brooks in some TV special. It's been said many times by many people, and I don't know who said it first, but basically it's that happiness isn't getting what you want. Happiness is wanting what you've got. It's all about that appreciation, right? And it's so easy to look around and say, oh, I wish I had this. I wish I had that. I wish I had a fucking microwave that worked. But in the end, it's important to realize that I've got a fucking microwave downstairs. I'll just bring it upstairs. No, the point is just appreciate. I'm watching Brian laugh over here. It's the importance of appreciating what we've got and taking pride in that and making that enough. Now, that doesn't mean that you sit stagnant. You still want to drive yourself, move yourself, push yourself. But this is more the mental health side of things, which is don't beat yourself up because of what you're not or what you don't have. Appreciate who you are. Appreciate what you have. And that's the building block that you can then build off of to achieve what you want to achieve. And that's what I got, B.
Very nice, very nice. So I tried as much as I could to backpedal from your extra point so you could still have one. But now that you've seen our podcast, you've seen our random rankings, you can find our wonderful faces on Twitter. You can find Sconzi at Sconzi. You can find me at LandmarkMKE. You can find us AQ_PROD. You can also find us on Facebook, Almost Qualified Productions. You can find Sconzi smashing a microwave in the alley behind his house.
Probably.
Also, you can find Sconzi on Amazon Sidewalk.
No.
You can find him on Linktree. You can find him here on Twitch Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights. You can find him on Patreon. You can pretty much find him anywhere that goods and services are sold. But
pretty much.
Until next week, I will bid you adieu. Thank you, everybody, for listening, for watching, and for your insights. We will talk to you next week.
Bye, everybody.